Oh, FragWatch. Oh, FragWatch. FragWatch. Oh, we got speed and balance and control. The QcK mouse on the go. Hey, it's FragWatch here. Today we're going to be doing the comparison video for the Steelseries QcK series. We got the QcK Speed. Speedy boy. Very speedy. The QcK Balance and the QcK Control. Let's start off with the control. Let's start off with some thickness, yeah? Let's show the thickness. So these two feel remarkably similar. This is just a little bit more rubbery. They do have all the same base. This feels more velvety on the speed pad than these two. I don't know whether that's mine, a manufacturing default, or what, but this does feel a little bit more velvety, rubbery, I guess would be the word. These two feel identical. Now in softness, obviously this isn't scientific, I'm going by feel here. This, I think these are all, they all look about the same width, right? Yeah, they're about, I need my calipers. God. Okay, yeah, this feels a little bit more stiff, a little bit rubbery. These two feel, I mean, if you blind tested me, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. This one feels maybe a little rubbery, and it just could be because of the way my thumb is rubbing against the material. That said, okay, comparisons. I think this control feels like a Heian in mid. It feels like an artisan Heian in mid. The surface is very, I mean, let me pick that. You can feel, you can hear just how rough that is. Let me do the balance now. You can hear that too. Like it's loud. It's going to take some skin with it. I found that it was easier to clean than a Heian. When I am playing more relaxed, if you see my streams, I don't plant my arm like this like I do in a competitive or LAN setting. I usually have my arm more like this, and so I get a lot more arm movement when I'm at home. I get a lot of skin right there. So, but it was easy to clean. Look, you can see a little bit of the white spot of my skin, but it cleans off very easily. I found with a damp microfiber cloth, it cleans off very well. The balance, I think the balance was probably my favorite of the three. I felt it worked good with most skate types. Do some unscientific glide testing here. I fucking hate these tests without like a servo arm and all that, but I'm not going to build that out right now. Just try and throw these at the same speed every time. So I almost feel like I got more control with the balance. And I think it's because with certain skate types, you get more of a static electricity charge buildup between the pad and the skate if you're not lifting off a lot. Like when I do that, that feels a lot more controlled and fast. When I do that, it just feels slower. It feels more controlled. And I think it's because of the static electricity buildup. I think there's, as weird as it sounds, more friction there. Like, it's building up a charge. And the speed pad, my God, it's just, like, it's one of the fastest speed pads I've ever used. It's almost faster than glass. Seriously, it's almost faster than glass. It's wild. And definitely not something that I like. Not my cup of tea. But quality-wise for the price, it's a good speed pad, man. Like if speed pads are your thing, you want a cloth pad that's as speedy as glass, it's hard to not recommend that. Like, it's something I'd recommend. If you want a cloth pad that's as fast as glass, that's high quality and low cost, QcK Speed, man, the Performance Edition, it's yeah, there it is. So of the three, for my personal play style and for Counter-Strike, Battlefield, Call of Duty, Played a lot of Warzone with the balance. I enjoyed the balance the most of the three. Second most was the control. Third most was the speed. Now, are these going to compare or stand up against, say, lethal gaming gear like Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune? Yeah, I think they stand toe-to-toe with those. The control, maybe not. I think the Jupiter might beat out. I think the Jupiter and Saturn in Xsoft, just because of the Xsoft. Let me be very clear about just because of the Xsoft. Just because of the thickness and the softness, I think beat the control and balance pads out. Just having that option of soft and Xsoft. Like, these feel like artisan mids. Like, it is not soft. They're artisan mids. So it's not, you don't get the Z-axis, which is like, it's key. I mean, if you want to play at the top of your game, you got to, getting that Z-axis is a whole nother level, even though it takes a while to get used to. And these pads are not going to give you that. But for the price, it's hard to argue with that, right? It's a good price. And QcK is more readily available in more regions. So this might become one of my go-to recommendations for regions where it's hard to get those other mouse pads at an affordable price. Does that make sense? So, I'm getting dizzy. Ugh, what's going on? Huh, sorry about that. Man, maybe I'm hungry. Stomach's growling too. Probably it. Anyways, would I recommend these? The control pad, no. Unless you're in a region where other pads are not available. I think there's other pads at the price, like the Kurosun Shogun and the LGG Saturn Pro or Jupiter Pro. I think are going to beat this out at every step. Period. There's like the Masashi Void 2 that also I think just plays better. The Wise Owl Raven, the Wise Owl pad. There's just a lot of pads that in that price range I think beat this out. The QcK Balance I recommend in that price range. I think it's one of the better balance pads. I think it's going to go toe to toe with, say, a Samurai, Kurosun Samurai or Shogun. I think they play very similarly. The Shogun and this, they feel wildly different, but they play similar, I think, with most mice. So that's going to be a recommendation. And then this balance, it's not my cup of tea. Full stop. But if you're looking for a cloth pad that plays like glass and is high quality and low cost, hard not to recommend that. You know what I mean? Let's pull out the magnifying glass. Have a little fun here. All right. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see if I can take a picture. Where the fuck is the picture button? There it is. Let's see if I can freeze frame that for a second. Oh, no. Let's get the camera. Can I get the camera? Man, I hate this. It's not taking pictures and freezing. I'm going to have to load it in. Anyways, so I'll just talk about it. And if you can zoom in on a video. So this has over-under, very thick fibers, very porous, a lot of nylon in this for sure. You can see the reflectiveness of the nylon. They typically use nylon for structure and rigidity, spandex for like viscosity and flexibleness. And then a lot of pads are sticking almost primarily with synthetics, which good in some ways, bad in a lot of ways. I wish cotton and other natural fibers were used more widely. Anyways, these are very wide fibers, structurally rigid. That's why there's not a lot of flexibility to it. And it is a very odd cross stitch. It's not just your normal cross stitch. It looks like a double under over. I mean, it could be 2 layers, which would just like the Heian. So that makes sense. Let's move on to the balance. Now this looks almost like felt. This looks like felt if felt was made of nylon and spent. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see how reflective that is. Like, this looks on your screen, it looks just like a white screen. But on this, I'm sure you can see it's a lot more reflective. Like, the difference in contrast is why you guys can see that. because of the amount of nylon. There's so much white to black, and they're right next to each other, that you guys can probably pick up on that. This looks like diagonal cross stitching. It looks really just like a tangled mess, man. Like these are half the size. The fibers are half the size or less than on the control. Really, it has a velvety suede feel to it, almost a little bit rougher, but that's what the pattern reminds me, is like artificial, like felt that's supposed to feel like suede, but this is made with a lot of nylon, so not cotton. This looks very uniform. Holy moly. Let me see if I can get that to not reflect light as much. This is very uniform. It's a diagonal hook stitching pattern. I mean, there's not a lot of nylon in that, or it looks like it's probably primarily spandex and maybe cotton in that. And the fibers are very thin. They're very tightly wound. Yeah, man, this almost feels like leather. Like, it's not like it's a good speed. I hate speed pads, but this is a great speed pad. So there it is. I think the highest quality pad of the three is the one I don't like, and that's the speed pad. I think this is like, if you're looking for a speed pad that's like a glass pad, this is really hard to beat, man. I think it's better than the Neptune Pro. And there's not really a lot of speed pads out there to compare it to. Like, it played unique. It was way too fast for my taste. Like, I prefer glass over this. Like, this almost felt faster than glass. The balance pad was my personal favorite, and the one I'd probably be recommending out of this batch to people. The control felt like a Heian mid, and I would never, ever, under any circumstance, recommend a Heian mid. Like, if it was a Heian soft or X soft, yeah, of course I'd recommend that over a lot of pads. But these really suffer from the thickness and softness. Sorry, they do, and it's really hard for me to like recommend them over the Saturn and Jupiter. Like, quality wise, overall build quality wise, they're good, right? But playability, like without having that soft and X soft thickness and softness, having the Z axis to play with, like, I'd recommend the Saturn in soft or X soft, or the Jupiter over these every day, over the balance and control. Speed is better than Neptune Pro. Yeah, that's my comparison video. I think these are all good pads for the price. I think there's the speed pad is kind of top tier for speed pads in the cloth area. That's the highlight of this. Even though it's my least favorite to use, it is the highlight of the three. If you like a Heian in mid, I'd recommend you try a softer X soft. But if you like a Heian in mid, this is a cheap alternative. If you want a balance pad, I recommend other pads that are kind of like this, like the Shogun or the Samurai by Kurasan. It was a good pad for the price. And if it's available in your region, it's probably going to beat out a lot of the other pads in the clones. With that said, I'm going to wrap this up. That's my comparison video and my personal thoughts on the Quick Performance series of pad, the speed, the balance, and the control. I don't like this tag. I'm glad it's not a logo on here, like stitched inward, but I'm not a big fan of the tag. This is raised. The SteelSeries logo is raised. Luckily, it's down in the bottom right corner. I don't know a single person who uses that corner. Usually most people are their arm, just, arms you can't break your fucking, well, you can break your elbow. You're not going to break your elbow to do that. Anyways, my opinions. Live stream's continuing. This review and comparison is over. Oh, it's FragWatch here, and that's my comparison of the speed control quick balance QcK. You guys do QcK or quick? What do you guys call it? Let me know in the comments.